Batgirl, Issue 1, written by Gail Simone, art by Arjun Siaf. Not a fan. Just brief thoughts right before we get into it. Not a huge fan, but I'll explain why if it does become apparent. So we open up with a man watering his rose garden as somebody has a list of names and coming up behind him in full leather gear. He asks, "Oh, who are you?" And the dude opens up his jacket and calls himself the Mirror. So already we've got a villain name. That's moving extraordinarily fast. The guy claims how the dude watering the rose garden was the only survivor of this big shipwreck, and therefore he deserves to die as to like not escape fate or whatever. So he takes his gardening hose, shoves it in the guy's mouth, and I guess drowns him. And then he crosses the name off the list. And then at the bottom you see Barbara Gordon. Barbara Gordon being Batgirl for anyone not in the know, as we cut to Batgirl saying, "I'm not Barbara Gordon." She just means that in terms of like she's Batgirl right now, not Barbara Gordon, but she's still Barbara. Point being, we get into this whole long thing about how she was tracking some killers, and she finally managed to track them down. And they have two hostages right now, a couple who are they're just talking about how they're going to kill them, and Batgirl is about to bust in and stop them. It's just your generic like, oh, let's show off this, let's show off the hero fight scene. And this entire time, she's not talking in a way that I associate with my idea of Batgirl, which is more fun and like, the sort of poppy sort of fight. Instead, she's literally saying things along the lines of like, "I'm going to punch you so hard, I'm going to make you cry to your mama." It's like, why are you so mean right now? Like, this smile on the front cover is very deceptive. But anyway, not a lot really happens. She does the fight. We learn some stuff about her. She has an eidetic memory. She never forgets anything. She's very good at like calculating and like, being smart about her actions. And then there's 4 killers. She takes out most of them or kills them. Hard to really say. Until one of them goes over the edge of a balcony and she grabs him to stop him from dying. She gets away, leaves him from the authorities. And then we get into flashbacks of Barbara Gordon, where she basically says Killing Joke happened. For those of you who don't know Killing Joke, at the beginning, Joker did a home invasion on on Barbara Gordon in order to get to Jim Gordon and shot her and paralyzed her. And that was the comic status quo for years until this issue where she's not paralyzed. According to this issue, that whole period lasted 3 years. She was paralyzed for 3 years. And what happened to get her out of the chair? Quote, a miracle. Nothing more is explained. So she's at her dad's place and she's like, "I need to get my own place, Dad. It's time for me to leave." And he's like, "All right, if you're sure." She goes, finds a person who needs a roommate, who we never get the name of in like the entire first issue. We hang around her for 3 full pages, but they never say her name. They just say she and her. Why? Anyway, she's apparently an activist, and her only rule is no creepy boyfriends. That's it. Cut to, and we're at the hospital where that one killer who Barbara saved is resting up, and Mirror just walks into the front desk and it's like, "Hi, I'm here for Theodore Rankin." And the secretary's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, what's your name, please?" And the Mirror just punches her in the face and goes, "Mirror." It's so funny. It's so funny. I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but it's so funny. Anyway, he shoots a security guard. Shots alert some of the police officers who were watching over the killer because, of course, he has a protective order. They call it in. As soon as it's called in, Barbara gets the alert on her phone, and she hops on her bat cycle to get to the hospital quickly. The Mirror is there because he heard, I guess, about this dude being saved when all of his comrades died, or maybe not. I don't know. A little unclear. And he's here to finish the job that, he's fixing the Final Destination stuff. He's killing the people who lived unfairly. He ends up shooting the 2 cops who were guarding him as Barbara busts into the room, still on her motorcycle. Like, they show a panel of her on her motorcycle in an elevator asking a dude to, 14th floor, please. I'm not kidding. Finally, she gets up to the floor and he's like, hey, dude, you just shot a cop. You're in for a rough time. He turns around, aims the gun at her, and she freezes up. She's having flashbacks to her night with the Joker shooting her. This allows the mirror enough time to take the dude's gurney and push it out the window, sending him to his death. And the issue ends with the cop, who was shot but still alive and saw everything, pointing to Barbara and saying, quote, you let him kill that man. You just watched him die. Murderer. Meanwhile, Mira's still standing right there. He hasn't run away. He's still there. But they're blaming Barbara for the murder. Okay. Writing. That's my big thing with this. I don't like the entire first half of the issue being so weirdly aggressive and like it feels like this was Frank Miller's Batman talking, like the big gruff, like, I'm gonna punch you till you bleed. It doesn't strike me. Look at that smile. It's a deceiving smile. Then again, like, we didn't get the name of the roommate at all. The fact that what got her out of the chair was just a miracle. And that ending, I really don't like the ending where it's like, I think there was just an edict on high that said, hey, everybody, at the end of issue number 1, we need a cliffhanger where your hero, whoever your book is about, is in a very rough spot. Like, how are they going to get out of this one? And they could have easily ended it with, oh, she's still frozen and Mira continues to point the gun at her and says, like, oh, I'm going to kill you now. But I think Gail Simone has a plan for him following, like, a moral code sort of thing. Like, he only kills people who are on his list. So instead, they just had to make something up of, you're a murderer for failing to stop another murderer. No, I don't like that. The only part I really did like was the punching the secretary bit. That was just hilarious. I don't know if it's intentionally hilarious, but it's hilarious. As for the art, it's fine. There's nothing that stands out as bad, but it's also not, blowing my world away. It's a perfectly fine thing. The only issue I have is whenever Mirror shows up to anybody, he opens up his jacket and shows them something, but we don't get to see what. So all we see is a dude in a cloak step up to someone, say, like, is this your name? And they're like, yes. And then he just flashes them. Kind of funny for a villain to just think he's just flashing them, but I don't think that's the intention. That's my problem. Overall, I'm giving this maybe like 6.5. It has the potential to do a lot better. I want to see them do some more introspective stuff with Barbara and her getting over this stuff, especially since, if that's where they're putting back, like maybe it never does say she was Oracle. It just said that she was paralyzed. She might have never been Oracle. So if they're not doing that, I'd like to see her, this is her first steps getting back into the game. And I'm down with that. I totally am. But there's not a lot of it in this issue. So 6.5 overall. It's fine, but it's not pulling me away.